guys, good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually going to do a cook with me. We're going to make salmon. Kerry adores salmon and there's only myself and Kerry in the house at the moment. My two kids are down with my mother. So we are just going to have this as like a little treat because we very seldom have salmon. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do salmon in a creamy sauce with some spaghetti, and that'll be our dinner for this evening. Alright guys, so this is our salmon dinner we are going to make. So obviously I have 2 cutlets of salmon here. So these are what are going to be are going to be cooked up. I also have some tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes. These just give a depth of flavour because I'm not using many tomatoes in this. Now I was a bit lazy today, and I went up and I got onions that were already cut up and peppers that were diced up from the deli bar in my local shop. So I'm going to use them. I'm going to use some easy garlic, about a tablespoon of easy garlic. I may use 1 or 2 of the cherry tomatoes. I'm not quite sure at the moment, but we'll see how we go with that. I'm going to use some coarse black pepper. I'm going to use some of this Grana Pando, I think that's how you, but it is a strength number 4, so it's quite strong. It's actually quite salty, so that's why I'm not going to use much salt in this dish at all. And we are going to use some of the, where is it there, cooking cream for our dish. And that is literally what we're going to do. It's fairly straightforward, and we're going to serve that with some spaghetti. So I'm going to get the spaghetti on, I'm going to cook the salmon, and then I'm going to move the salmon aside, and then I'm going to start making the sauce, and then I'm going to flake the salmon back into the sauce and serve over the spaghetti. Okay, so first things first, we're going to get our pasta on because that'll take a while to cook. So I'm just going to bring that water up to the boil, and then I'll add in the spaghetti. And the spaghetti I'm going to break into smaller pieces because we've only got a little bit left. So we'll just bet half, break it in half, and that just bulks it up a little bit more. So now I'm going to cook my salmon. I'm going to use some olive oil, and we're going to do skin side down over probably a medium heat and let it. The best thing about cooking fish like this is you can actually see it cooking up through the fish. So it's actually, I find fish is very easy to cook if I can find a lighter to light my cooker. I don't know why that ring just never lights. Okay, so we're going to get the pan up to heat, and then I'm going to lower it down to medium before I put the salmon into it. It's quite a straightforward dish, and obviously explaining it makes it seem like it's longer to do, but it's actually, once you know what you're doing, obviously you're just throwing stuff in, so it doesn't take as long, but obviously I'm having to break it down step by step. Okay, so we've just put the salmon in, so it doesn't take that long, about 5 to 7 minutes. I just don't want it to stick, even though it says it's a non-stick pan. You know yourselves, non-stick till something sticks. Okay, Mr. Salmon, no need to spit at me. I'm just going to get my pasta ready because that's nearly to the boil now, and I'm literally just going to cook this as per instructions on the pack. Obviously we don't have a pack anymore. Literally I'm just going to break this pasta in half into the salmon fights back. So I'm just going to throw that in. That's our pasta on, and as I said, that would take, no, it shouldn't really, put the lid back on that and let him boil away there. Pasta normally takes about 10 minutes, I think. So salmon on, pasta on. That's half the dish already done. I used to use sometimes, it sounds great, doesn't it? The tin of salmon. If I had a tin of salmon to hand, you can use that. You can flake it up and have it ready to go in. You can buy the ready cooked salmon. You could, I know Hayley likes the smoked salmon. So if I'm doing this and Hayley was here, I would literally just chop up the smoked salmon and add it to the sauce. But obviously then you're having to adjust your flavours and make sure that you're not adding much salt, because seafood naturally is quite salty. Right, let's get it. Okay. So I'm going to turn this lad over. As I said, oh come on. Why when you're trying to show something, does it always sort of go a bit arse about face? Please be nice. This is also a great dish if you wanted to use up things like prawns, mussels, calamari, anything like that. Instead of using salmon, you could use if you had a seafood mix, anything like that, and it'd be just as nice. So you see now the salmon is cooked, and that took about 7 minutes. While it was on its back, I literally just pulled the skin off it, because the skin was cooked. It just, as you see, it just came off. But because I'm going to do my onions and stuff in here, I'm going to drain off the oil after I take out the salmon, and I'm going to take off all the skin. But it's just an easy way. If you're not into handling it, you could do that as well. Just wait till it's cooked and then pull off the skin. Look at all those nice little bits. Okay, so that's it, salmon done. So I'm going to turn this off now. I'm going to wait for it to cool down a fraction, and I'll then get started on my onions and stuff. Okay, so now we're going to construct our sauce. Our salmon is done. Pasta's on the boil. Nearly cooked, won't take long. Keep that on so it doesn't boil over. There's our salmon, all nicely cooked. Oops. So now we're going to start with our onion and peppers. We're going to put them in here. As I said, I was lazy, went up to the deli, got them already pre-cut as you do in the deli, and we're just going to fry them off. I'm also going to put in some of the garlic now. Wouldn't be a massive fan of garlic, but I find the jarred garlic can be quite sweet, so it's not too bad. Let me just give that a good stir. Whoa. And throw a bit overboard. We just really want to soften down the onions and peppers and stuff, and there's a nice little mix. Do you know, sometimes you just got to run to the deli because it's easier than trying to, and there's only myself and Kerry here this week, so the fridge is really, really low, and I don't want to go out and start buying up a load of things, so it's easier to go out and just grab them already cut up. Someone else can do the crying over the onion. Pasta's bubbling away there. That will be done now in a few minutes. So I'm going to leave that for a few seconds, just let it soften down a bit, and then we're going to add in our cream and our tomatoes, and then we're just going to leave that. I'm actually going to cut those tomatoes, the sun-dried tomatoes. I've only got like 4 or 5 of them. There isn't that much of them, but I'm just going to cut them up a bit, and then they'll go in. They'll actually add colour to the sauce, I hope. Okay, so I've just lowered down the frying pan to a low heat because this is a heavy based pan, so it holds the heat. So I just want it low. I'm going to put in my cream, and then I'm going to put in the tomatoes, leave it a few minutes, then we're going to add in the cheese, and then we're going to taste it. So I'm using the cooking cream that they have here. I suppose you could use single cream, double cream, anything like that, but it's a specific cooking cream. A delicious, thick, creamy, ready to add to your favourite dish, suitable for soup, pasta and fish. 50% fat than standard cream. So that's apparently what it is. So we're just going to mix that around. Now I am going to put in my tomatoes now. I've cut them up so they're a little bit finer. And we're just going to let that cook. Well, not cook, it's going to simmer there. Now if you find that you hadn't got enough cream and you wanted, you could add in some milk if you want to loosen up the sauce. That's looking okay, I think, so far. I still have some cheese and stuff to add in, but we're going to just let that simmer and let them all get to know each other in there, because they should all become friends. But as I said, this is on a very low heat. I don't want any, I just want it just to warm through as opposed to bring it to the boil or anything like that. Okay guys, so my pasta is now done. So I'm going to take it off. Now what you can do, if your sauce has got too thick, you could take some of that pasta juice, you know, with a ladle or a little, I suppose if you're careful, a little bit of a spoon, and you can pour it in just to loosen your sauce up, because the pasta is going to go in here, the salmon's going to go in here, and it's going to be served as one dish. So you want the sauce loose enough that it can just cover everything. I'll show you the thickness of the sauce. So it's gone quite thick. That's the one thing about the cooking cream, it does thicken very well. But as I said, if you want to loosen it down, you can loosen it down with the pasta water, or you can loosen it down with a little bit of full fat milk or cream. Depend on what you have to hand. Right, so let's drain this pasta. Okay, so pasta's drained. Now I'm going to put in some of this cheese. I'm probably going to put in, how much is in here? There's 100 grams, so probably about 25, maybe 30 grams. It just gives a nice flavour into the sauce. Now it looks a lot because it's quite fine, but trust me, it's not. Yeah. And I'm going to add some black, this is coarse black pepper. I'm going to add that into the sauce as well. I like coarse, well, I'm a peppery person. I like pepper in. So I'm just going to mix that cheese and pepper in. Now you can go for a weaker cheese, like that's a level 4 strength. You could go for 3, you could go for 2. If that's what you find, all this is personal choice. If you haven't got Italian cheese, you can add cheddar if you want cheddar into it. You know, you can leave out the cheese. It's one of those sauces that you can just add what you fancy. So now I am going to shred up my salmon, and literally I don't shred it. I literally just get a knife and just pull it apart. It literally will fall apart. Says you, if you use, I usually use a fork, but for some reason I have no fork to hand. So I'm literally going to do that. I don't want it broken up too much, just in bits. You can see it's still quite big chunkies. So we're going to put him in. Again, There's a bit of skin, come out the skin. I'm going to put them in. Going to mix that around just to get it all in there. Now at this stage I'm actually going to turn the heat off under the sauce, because this is a heavy base pan, so it'll hold the heat. So even if I turn off the heat, it's still going to stay warm. And in a few minutes I'm just going to let that sit, just so the salmon, even though it's been sitting here beside us and we know it's cooked, I just wanted to heat back up through, because there'd be nothing worse than getting a mouthful of cold salmon. Okay, so it's a little while later. Well, a little while. It's been about 5 minutes. I've actually just walked up the stairs to call Kerry. So I'm just going to put, our pasta in there. And as I said, you can use this with any seafood. You can use it just with vegetables. And I want to sort of lift it in, not to break up the... You can use any pasta you like. You can use any food you like. You could use... This actually be lovely even on its own, if you didn't have seafood to go into, even with a bit of chicken maybe. It would just be nice. It's one of those that sort of, it's a sauce that goes with everything. So you don't have to, we had this before, and I put prawns, mussels, and I think a fish mix, not a seafood mix, a fish mix. But this would easily do 3-4 people. It's only me and Kerry here, so we're just going to have to make pigs of ourselves. But it smells divine and it looks gorgeous. So that's it there. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to dish it up now. Kerry's going to come down the stairs and we are going to, we're going to have this. And as I said, it just looks divine.
Right.
So Kerry, are you going to try your dinner?
I am. Oh, it's very hot now.
Yeah, it's only out of the pan.
I might go for a little bit of the
Stuff at the side.
Totally.
What do you think?
It's nice. It's very nice actually. It's like, it's warm, but it's not like, you know, like the way sometimes you can get like a real warm dish and you're like, oh, that's, you know, comfort. This is like a warm summer dish. Like it's still quite heavy, like with pasta and cream and stuff, but it's light at the same time. It might be because of the salmon. You know?
But I was saying you could use any seafood in that.
Oh yeah, there are actually some prawns, some mussels.
Yeah.
Big squid and calamari thrown in. Oh.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's the biggest endorsement I've ever got of food in my life.